So, hey guys, Chauzu here. I know I've not been uploading as much as usual. I did post that I'm tired and that I think it was because of my pollen allergy, which is worse than usual. I'm not gonna lie about that, but I started to realize that there's more to it than that. And I'm honestly going through a bit of an OPTC crisis right now. I'm just not having as much fun as I used to. I'll make a video about that next week once I kind of decided everything, but I'm basically going to rehaul my channel a bit. And one thing I can say will happen, at least until they rehaul Kizuna, is that I'm basically done with this mode. Like, not playing it, because in OPTC you can't really skip playing modes. I will keep playing it, get all of the new units and such from it, but in terms of content creation, like making teams, making accessible teams, stuff like I used to do before, I have no motivation. Like, it brings no fun to me. It is just a chore. So that is most likely over until they make Kizuna like a real worthwhile mode, which honestly, one big thing of my disappointment is that they were very close to do a big first step with it this 10th anniversary. So with that out of the way, like, let's talk about like the biggest reason I am even more down on this mode, because the fact is that even before this Kizuna was arguably the worst mode in the game. Like, if we talk PvE modes, for me definitely. I'd even say that I enjoy most like Grand Party more than Kizuna, which is insane, since if you're a regular to this channel, you know my opinion in PvP in general, which is very low. I don't really care for it, but Kizuna's already so bad. Like, I've made a lot of videos about it. Like, if we talk about beginners, like, it's the biggest nightmare. Like, at least they making this like a catch-up Kizuna, but it's also just a one-time thing in the future. They still have the issue for beginners that it takes years to catch up with 6+ and everything. It's insane. Other than that, like, we still have the same rewards in Kizuna as like 3 years ago, and it's not like the rewards were amazing 3 years ago either, so we're still waiting for a rehaul for that. And in terms of everything else, they've just continue make it worse and worse, make them harder, try and require full badge, etc. But I honestly thought this was going to change with the 10th Annie, because it was revealed in an update that they were going to remove the damage limiter. And if you don't know what the damage limiter is, like if we go to the super boss here, you can see that my alliance, I think that's up to 5.8 trillion HP at level 52. Before we had a limiter, so the enemy HP could not go above 1 trillion, or to be exact, 999.999 billion. Like, that was the cap. And my logic to why this was a good change was that, like, Super Boss in particular, but 10 stars as well, have been really limiting in terms of mechanics. Like, anybody playing OPTC knows that building for Super Boss 10 star not fun. They really try to force new badge. And my logic to the reason was always that, well, we already hit the damage limiter before. Like, if you run the standard Gear 5 Rainbow team, like, you can easily hit it no matter the variant. So my logic here was that, okay, this is like a win-win situation. Like, Bandai can win because with power creep they can allow us to do more and more damage, so people will still be enticed to get new badge, and in return they can stop making the Kizuna so atrocious in terms of building, because like, we already have modes where building is fun. What people really want for Kizuna is just to go ham with their OP units, do as much damage as they can with their box and such, and not really focus a lot on mechanics. And for me, like, this was such an obvious thing to do that I didn't doubt it. I didn't even doubt it when it was discovered, like when the update happened, that they have put another limit on damage. So they removed the limit on HP, but they implemented a limit in damage, and I was so sure that this was an unintended bug, and it's not like it's uncommon for this game to have bugs. It's not uncommon. I was so sure. I was laying not there at all, and the only time like I realized the fact was when someone found like a snippet from like the menu, the frequently asked question, like the guides. There's a snippet where it says that this is indeed intended that once you pass 1 trillion damage, they lower the damage you do by like 99%, something absurd. So you basically can't do more than 1 trillion damage, and like I just despair about this because it just makes no sense at all. Because now they had a really good way to long term solve this issue about power creep. Like, they can keep releasing new stuff, they can do more damage, you can make people want to pull them by letting them do more damage. But their solution is that yes, enemies HP will go up in damage, but we won't let you do more damage. And it's like, why even remove it? Like, the only difference that's happened this Kizuna as a part of this that can be positive for this new batch is like the birth of 2 trillion damage teams. Because yeah, enemies can have about 1 trillion. We can't do more than 1 trillion in one turn, but in 2 turns we can do 1 trillion again. So that's the birth of 2 trillion teams. So that's kind of cool, and this badge is kind of designed around that, but it's still entirely short-sighted. Like, is that going to be the thing now? Everything is designed for 2 turns. Like, it's cool and all, but we're still back at this inherent issue that at some point, like, we've hit the cap. Like, it just feels bad, man. We can't do more than this. And like, I'm going to talk about like the top player perspective, since that's the one I can relate to, but it's important to note that this is not good for anyone. And let's take Superboss as an example. Like, as you can see here versus Sai, we're at 5.8 trillion. I'm just assuming it is that. But usually with Superbosses, you could think it doesn't really matter because the points we get is the HP of the Superboss. So yeah, it doesn't really matter if it's a 1 trillion cap, like we kill it, we get 1 trillion points as a team, or if it's a 5.8 trillion cap, because we kill it, we get 5.8 trillion points. But it still does matter, since all Superbosses are not created equally. So for example, versus some variations, it might be that most people struggle doing 200 billion damage. If you're a less triad alliance, you might be happy to do 50 billion, 100 billion if it's a very hard variant. But on some variants, you might be able to get up to 500 million HP, which of course makes it easier to progress, but you always return to like the super boss that is very annoying. But in the past, it was still like you could like build up courage to get like, okay, it's 1 trillion, it's that time again, we can't do much damage by ourselves, but if we work together, we can take this out. And then you can split the job on the other colors. But like now, like for my alliance, Sai has been an annoying one. I haven't been bothered to build teams, like I said. No motivation for Kizuna. So for Super Boss, I copied the best Sai team I could. I could do like 800, 900 billion depending on the boost. And I took one of these out by myself. I think it's 58 trillion, yeah, it makes sense. Not 5.8, 58. Because I know it was like 36 trillion when I did it by myself. And it took so many runs. And I used up like all my Super Boss token on one single level. And like before, we could work together, help out, like put in boost. Like boost is a lot more easy to encourage people to do when their level can take a bit faster and not take several hours like here. So yeah, it's just very disheartening. And like, this is for mainly about the HP going about 1 trillion. So that's like a problem for everyone. And like, sure, for a top player perspective, if we could do our 1 trillion as well, it kind of will wait out. Like I said, my idea, if they did it like that, is that the mechanics will be so much easier, than it will have been easier for everyone. But we still have awful mechanics, and we still can't do a 1 trillion damage, but we have to do trillions of damage total. So yeah, Super Boss has become a bit more relevant for placement, so that's a plus, I guess. But in terms of enjoyability, like, no, just no, it's still awful. And if we change focus for like the solo perspective, like in before I could do like 1000 runs and such on 3-star. Now you see that even the top players can't do that many runs. It's because like the damage caps, and like technically it's not a big difference to before, because as said, let's say the boss has 80 trillion HP. Once you kill it, you do get 80 trillion points. But that doesn't mean like it's a good system like before. Like, most people with a good box could build a team that could do at least 500 billion versus 3-stars due to no mechanics, which is a cool thing with 3-star. But then you could, like as an alliance, help out. Maybe you have a friend who can do it too, they can do the assist. So you only have to spend a bit of Kizuna potions for every run. But now you can't do that anymore. Like, even if you could do 1 trillion damage before, like you still do 1 trillion damage now, maybe 2 trillion if you can build one of those teams. But still, that means 2 trillion is the cap that you're doing, and then the boss can go up to 70 trillion, 80 trillion. So you have to do basically all of that yourself. Maybe you can get some help with the last 2 trillion, but that still means you have to spend a ton of potions, you have to spam runs, and even if in the end you get points, it's not as an enjoyable process, I'd say, personally. And as said, you do remove that potential to help each other out in a more meaningful way. And like, I'm just sad that 3-star is still the way to go. Like, they have, like, okay, fixing 3-star might not be that fast, but the sad part is that even if they fix 3-star at this point, make it unviable, we're still back at the fundamental issue that 4-star, the 10-star, 15-star still have very hard mechanics, and they make these hard mechanics to make it so you can't just use the old stuff. They want you to pull for the new stuff, and it just feels even worse than it has been in the past, because they could just remove this restriction past 1 trillion HP. Like, let us do 3 trillion damage if we can. Let us do 5 trillion if we can. Like, there's no reason to limit it. Like, old units are not going to be able to do this damage. It's just new units. You encourage people that want to do the max damage to keep pulling for new stuff, and they can feel good about it. But now you instead encourage people to pull new stuff, because otherwise they'll have a living hell to try and rank and not have fun. Like, I can promise you, when talking, like, even in my alliance, we're rank 3. I haven't helped as much as I want with that, but they've done an amazing job. I can tell you that not many of them are having fun. Like, it's not a fun experience, Kizuna, right now. And if they just remove the limit on damage, they will definitely have fun, and it will be more enjoyable, because with that, as said, in my world, they also make every variation easier with less debuff, so everybody will struggle less to do damage. They'll be able to do a ton of damage, feel good about themselves, make the best use of their box. So, yeah, I don't think I can be more clear than that why I'm very disappointed with the current state of Kizuna. And like, it looks like I'm probably going to drop out of the top 100, and I have invested tokens. That's like my way of trying to force myself to play. But like, I'm in the process where my teams I upload do too little damage now, and I need to change them. I've changed to a quick team that's supposed to do like 2 trillion damage with Roger Friend Captain that someone made, I don't remember who. And I was like, if someone can bother do my assist, I'll try it, but I can't even bother asking for assist. Like, I'm just so done with Kizuna in general. Like, we'll see once I'm not feeling this demotivated if I'll be happy to go hard with the alliance from time to time. But it's too early for me to think with that. Like, I'm just done for now. Don't expect basically any Kizuna content from me. Maybe I'll post what I'm using if it's something special. Maybe I'll do some Kizuna streams, but other than that, like, I'm so done until Bandai does a proper rehaul of this mode. Like, it's just been getting worse and worse. The only thing we got is the Kizuna team builder, which I do appreciate, but ironically, it only has the quest guide for 10 star when 10 star from a ranking perspective is not viable. I guess we can end with that because people have been asking why are people doing 3 star, and it's basically because 3 star has no mechanics, and sure, it takes longer for 3 star HP to go up to same level as 10 star, but once it does, you still have the very easy 3 star mechanics. It's a lot easier to do 1 trillion, even 2 trillion versus 3 star than versus 10 star. So it's also cheaper since at some point you need to do a lot of runs on 10 stars. You spend a lot more points doing that. On 3 star, you already pay less tokens to do runs and stuff like that. I hope that was a sufficient explanation. I've been talking for nearly 20 minutes, but yeah, I conveyed what I want to do. I think PKA starts tomorrow, and I'm super pumped up about that because this is a mode I very much enjoy, and I do intend to play it a lot, make more teams than usual because I want to focus on what I think is fun, and I do enjoy PKA a lot. So yeah, if you're worried about me skipping that, no, I'm definitely going to play it even more than before. So yeah, look forward to that tomorrow. But yeah, probably the only video I do today. I should do a tier list video as well. We'll see if I can gather up the will for that for my members. Like, I'll probably rehaul my member stuff eventually, but until I do feel obligated to keep at it. So I'm going to try and muster up the will to get to the tier list today. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.